There's a new leader for a North Carolina group that focuses on the state's business environment and the free market. The group is the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation. Its new executive director, Jonathan Kappler. He joins us now at Carolina Journal Radio. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jonathan, first of all, I gave way too short of an explanation of what the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation is. Tell us about the group.
Sure, really. The mission is actually really kind of has two main focuses to its mission statement. One is really providing nonpartisan political analysis and research for the state's business community in really an objective way. And then also providing educational programming both to the business community and the public at large around making the state more business friendly and having a business an environment in which the state can prosper in the business market. So our wheelhouse and what we spend a lot of our time is elections, campaign finance, polling, demographic analysis, so that the business community can engage in a way in which it wants to in its civic responsibility.
You are new as executive director, but not new to the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation. Tell us what you did in a past life for this group.
Sure. I'm so excited to rejoin the Free Enterprise Foundation. Between 2009 and 2013, I was the research director at the organization, and so very familiar with the programming of the organization. And now I'm rejoining as executive director. Certainly have a broader scope of responsibilities, but very excited to be back amongst my friends and kind of coming back home with the organization. And doing a lot of the stuff that I love.
Between those two times, you stepped out and were actually in the world of higher education / government working for the University of North Carolina. How is that experience going to impact what you're doing now?
Certainly. Well, I worked for the UNC system, and so I was one of two people that represented, largely in Raleigh and for a time in Washington, D.C. as well, all 17 institutions in the UNC system. And so that was actually great because it allowed me to kind of better understand the state as a whole, travel the state quite a bit, and really understand things at a more grassroots level and kind of get more engaged in the communities that are around the state. And so the UNC system has 17 wonderful institutions that are in every corner of the state. And so I really valued my time there, developed some wonderful relationships, got to work with both Presidents Ross and Spellings, learned a lot from both of them, and so really appreciate the leadership lessons I learned there along the way.
Do you suspect that there are going to be opportunities for increased tie-ins between what North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation is doing and what university researchers or entities are up to?
Absolutely, and I certainly want to be able to tap into both the network of very talented faculty members and students, right, to leverage the work of the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation, and frankly give folks an opportunity to take some of their expertise and talents and use it for a statewide nonprofit like this.
We are chatting with Jonathan Kappler, Executive Director of the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation. Near the top of this interview, you mentioned that there are two main pillars of what the group does. Let's talk about both of those and what you see lying ahead. So one of them is, I guess, the part that you spent a lot of time on when you were research director. Right. That is what's going on with elections, electoral trends, which districts favor which party. What do you see happening on that front moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina is among the most politically dynamic states in the country, and so our organization is so perfectly positioned to be really in the thick of dynamics that are in the news every day. So we do a lot of candidate briefings, elections briefings, candidate forums. We publish the Almanac of North Carolina Politics, which provides an overview of elections and districts in every corner of the state, mainly at the state legislative level. And we're providing that programming for the state's business community, but also for the public at large. And so if you have an interest or questions about candidates, where they stand on issues, those kinds of things, particularly on business-related issues, we're the place to go as a resource for you on those things. So information largely lives online these days, and certainly leveraging social media and other things as well.
Why is it important for people within North Carolina's business community to have this type of information? Some people might think, well, they should be just busy with doing their business. Why do they need to know so much about what's going on in the political world?
Right, absolutely. Well, the decisions that our elected leaders are making impact us in a variety of different ways. And, the business leaders of the state are the ones providing jobs and spurring the economy forward. And so it's really important that they understand how to engage in the process, and that they have the information to effectively engage in the legislative and political process so that legislators have the best information available, and that we have legislators that understand the value of the North Carolina business community.
So that's one big piece of what you do. The name North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation also suggests that there is this focus on the free enterprise system and letting people know about it. What do you see happening on that piece of the foundation?
Sure, yeah, and we actually kind of blend those two things in a variety of different ways. And so, for example, soon we'll be releasing our business ratings of the North Carolina General Assembly, which has a kind of an analysis of how legislators approach business issues through their time in the legislative long session. And so that's helpful for both legislators, it's helpful for the business community in the state, it's helpful for the public at large to kind of understand how those two, the intersection of kind of legislative politics and the business issues kind of meet. We also do other kind of programming. We bring in scholars, have other events that are kind of focused around issues that are of interest to the business community. And we're looking for new and innovative ways, right? There are other opportunities, TV, radio, and those kinds of things to provide some programming so that the business community has a voice in North Carolina.
So the name of the group is the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation. A lot of people associate free enterprise and business with Republicans. You're speaking on a libertarian talk show that is often seen as being conservative. Is there really a conservative, liberal, libertarian bent to the Free Enterprise Foundation, or are you sort of working with everyone?
Right. Our main goal is to provide objective analysis so that individuals, however they choose to engage, can do so in a way that's informed and educated. So we do not lobby. We don't take positions specifically on issues. The information that we're providing is information that we hope is viewed as objective and credible for anyone to use. And so, the business community in North Carolina is not monolithic. They don't always think the same things. And so our role is certainly not to pick winners and losers on particular issues like that. It's simply to provide that information for the business community to do with what they can.
As you've been talking to business leaders, have they given you some ideas of things they want the Free Enterprise Foundation to do that it either has not done as much of or done in a different way?
Absolutely. There's lots of ideas out there. It's always just a choice of time and resources, right? We're a small organization, but we're fortunate in North Carolina to have so many other organizations that we can partner with on various things where there's overlapping interests. So we're in the process of exploring a lot of those new things, and I'm excited to begin my tenure to be able to kind of implement some of those new things.
You mentioned a little bit earlier that much of this information lives online these days, and that's the best way for people to find out about these things. So if people want to know what the Free Enterprise Foundation is up to, where should they go?
Absolutely. Our website, the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation, it's ncfef.org. Pretty easy. And we're definitely in the process as we enter into an election cycle where it's going to be a lot of content. And our value is providing some background context so that you don't get overwhelmed by the information. You understand really what's important.
And so people don't get overwhelmed by the website, what are some of the main things they'll see when they go there?
Certainly. We're trying to roll out some additional kind of snackable content, some bite-sized chunks so that you have some sense about what's happening. And certainly as quick-moving as our news cycles are these days, it's important to kind of stay up with it on a more regular basis. And so we're looking to shift in that way as well. But we also have longer-term research projects as well, campaign finance analysis and those kinds of things that are a little bit more meaty substance as well.